Today's session, which is a beginner level, but we're doing some stretch work. So this is a little bit of a different workout. This one is something that I'd probably encourage you to do later on in the day. Real quick discussion on types of stretches that you may have heard of. Dynamic stretches and static stretches. So today is gonna be static stretches. And it's pretty important to note that when you're doing static stretches, you don't really wanna be doing these pre-workout. These aren't the types of stretches that you do as a warm-up. Dynamic stretching or dynamic warm-ups is what you want to do before a workout. So just wanted to get that out of the way before we get into it. This stuff is really, really good to do at the end of a day as a reset for your muscle tension length before you go to bed. And then the next day you can get into competition if you want to do it that way. So welcome in. Like I said, we got the green level. If you get through this one pretty well, you can look at the blue level and the purple level stretches. But without further ado, we'll kick this off and we'll talk you through getting some muscles stretched as a bit of a recovery or a mobility thing. All right, so you got 20 seconds. I'd like you to pop down onto your mat. We've got the mat here. We're just gonna take a seat for these first few movements. We're not gonna go rushing through them. Stretching is about time under tension, okay? So just taking a nice cross-legged sit here. You can put your legs out in front if you'd like to, but we're gonna do the traps first. So the traps also part of the neck. What we're gonna do, left hand is gonna reach onto the top of the head and just really, really easily and really nicely, just pull a nice stretch into the right hand traps here. So very important thing for beginners when we are learning how to stretch is not to go too hard, too fast, too much tension for too long. What I'd much prefer with a stretch, yeah, rest. Okay, cool. What I'd much prefer with a stretch is to actually have time under tension. So you see that? 30 seconds. We're gonna drop into the next one. Resting, yes, there we go. And shake it off. Next side is the left, obviously. So right hand comes up, grabs the head, not grabs the head, but really slightly gently pulls it across to the side. While you're doing these trap stretches, just think about having your spine upright, having the rest of your body here at a nice upright posture. And you should feel that stretch from just underneath the ear, down through that trap, across the top of the shoulder, and that's probably it. You're probably not gonna feel too much more. Especially with your neck, if you feel anything in your spine or your neck there, please stop or lower that range of motion so you're just getting some nice time under tension on the muscles there. Cat-cow. So this one, we're gonna stay down on the floor, hands and knees down here, and we're gonna go big, deep breath in and bring the head up, belly down towards the floor. That's the cat. Oh, this is the cow. And then exhale, arch that back up towards the ceiling. So every 5 seconds or so, breathe in, arch the back, head up towards the ceiling, belly button towards the floor, and then exhale. Really try and get that tail between the legs. Arch the back, push the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch. Another 5 seconds here. Exhale. Like I said, time under tension, super important for this. Inhale. Stretch. Push that butt out. And then exhale. Push the spine up towards the ceiling. Nice. You want to make that flow. You don't want that to be sharp, sudden movements. You want to have a very, very nice, easy flow from one to the other, okay? The hip flexor right. What we're gonna do now, up on the knees, okay? We're gonna take a little bit of a step backwards here. We're gonna take our left foot forward. And in a lunge, we're normally looking at 90 degrees in each leg. But what we're gonna do right now is squaring the hips away. Very important, don't have the hips like this. Have the hips facing forward, shoulders facing forward. And you're gonna take about a half a foot forward in that front leg and then dip down. So with the hips squared away, we're gonna push our hips down towards that front ankle and really feel that stretch in the right hip flexor here, okay? So it's pushing down, good. And then shake it off. So now we got the other side. Now you see, I've got 30-second intervals for a lot of these. If it's a single movement, it's gonna be a 60-second. But 30 seconds is a really, really good starting point for this, okay? Yeah, let's go. Right foot forward. Remember, bring that right foot about a foot forward and then push the hips down and then breathe. That's all you have to do. For these 20 seconds remaining, just push the hips down and forward. Just remember that the hips want to be squared, shoulders squared, all facing forward. Try and keep your body upright. You can lean forward a bit if you'd like, but I find that by having your body upright, you get a bit more drive to get the hips down towards that ankle. I have to breathe as well. Ugh. Yeah. All right, this one, you're gonna stay down on the mat. You can have your feet out in front of you, or you can have your legs crossed if you like. I'm gonna have my feet in front of me for this one. This is the seated shoulder. So I'm gonna sit down, hands behind the back. I'm gonna face this way so you can see me, okay? So hands behind the back, press the palms together, and then push the arms into a straightened position. Now this might be where you find you can't actually get the palms together. Don't worry about that. I'd just like you to push as close as you can, and you may not be able to get your arms straight, but you'll feel that stretch. That's what I want you to do. Make sure you're feeling the stretch. Like I said, don't push the stretch to the point where it hurts. We don't want pain when we're stretching. We want tension. So you have to be the judge of this, and you'll know it. It's a nice burn, I'd like to say. It's not a hurty, it's not a pain. It's feeling that tension and knowing that you're slowly increasing your range of mobility here, range of motion. So in order to do that, to get your arms straight, you want to try and get your palms together. But that's the first level. First level is palms together. Second level is straighten the arms out, okay? Now this one, child's adductor, okay? I couldn't think of a good thing to name this, but what we're essentially doing is a child's pose, and then we're doing an adductor stretch with one leg. So right hand side first. What we're gonna do, kick that right leg out straight, left knee, and then we're gonna sit back into a child's pose like this. So you're gonna try and keep your knee as straight as possible. It might be a little bit difficult, but what you're gonna feel at this point, a couple of things, okay? You're gonna feel, hopefully, a bit of a quad stretch in the left. You're gonna feel a little bit of a tib-out stretch on the left if you're pointing your toe, but more importantly, you're gonna feel this stretch in the adductor. So in the groin on the right-hand side there. Nice, bring it forward, and then back, and then just sit. You can rest here in a child's pose if you like, and breathe. Reset. Okay, you got 5 seconds, so up onto the knees again. We're gonna put that left leg out, straight, and then we're gonna sit back onto the right heel, like that, okay? So it's a child's pose with an adductor stretch in there as well. And just breathe into it, okay? So this one's really, really good for hip mobility, really good hip stretch, because you can do as much work with the glute medius as you like, but if you're not gonna stretch out and get mobility into the adductors, they're gonna be constantly fighting against the power that you're, this one's a good one, yeah. It's gonna be fighting against the power that you're working into your glute medius there. Right, we got the calf raise, the calf stretches. So standing up now, okay? You want to find a doorway or a wall to lean against. Right hand side calf. So what we're gonna do is take that right leg, point it out, press the heel down, and lean into it. So for those of us talking about shin splints, usually it's people that are new to running that are gonna get shin splints. And usually the other part of the body that tends to ache a bit after running or learning to run is the calves. So really try and keep that back leg straight. Push the back knee towards that back wall and push that heel down as low as you can. And then just slowly shake out of that one. There you go. There you go. Any happy baby in this one? Not today. Happy baby Grace, I think I'm gonna put in the intermediate level one. I had this discussion earlier. I was trying to juggle which movements I was gonna have in a beginner versus which movements I'd have in an intermediate or an advanced. And I have a lot of stretches that I like, but a lot of them I would actually tend to class as a bit more higher level. So today, it's all very, very entry level stretches. If you've not done many stretches before, or if you're just learning about your range of motion and trying to get some more mobility, this is a brilliant starting point. They're all very easy to get into. Yeah. So I think tomorrow, oh, that felt really good, the trap stretch. Tomorrow is gonna be the intermediate level ones, which will probably have the happy baby in there. All right, standing hamstring stretch. This one's not a really, really intense hamstring stretch. What you're gonna do is right hand side, right leg goes out on the heel, keeping this right leg nice and straight, bending the left leg. So it looks a little bit like this, okay? And then we're gonna reach down as far as you can. You may not be able to touch the toes, don't care. Keep that toe up towards your face, keep the heel down and nice straight there. So what's gonna happen, if you try and stretch too far, you're gonna bend that leg. That's what I don't want. I'd like you to keep the front leg straight, keep the hips squared away, and just drop the chest down towards that heel. And then as you're coming out of it, use your glutes, use your hamstrings to pull yourself up and out of that one, okay? So other side now, shaking that one out. This is my favorite beginner hamstring stretch. We'll get into more hamstring stuff tomorrow, but what we're gonna do, okay, bending that right leg now, straighten the left leg, and then keeping a nice straight upper back, hinging at the hips. Hey, Beardy, how you going, mate? Thanks for that resub. There we go. So I can't even touch my toes at this point. It's been so long since I've done some hamstring work that I can't, yeah, I'm not gonna push it. Like I said, it's better to have time under tension with these stretches than it is to try and push an unreasonable range of motion. Morning, Beardy, how you going, mate? All right, the standing quad stretch. You're gonna find your wall again, either a rack or a wall or a bloomin' doorway, door frame, something like that. We do the right hand side first, and this one's a favorite. I think everyone knows this one. You're gonna grab your right hand and you're gonna stretch it in. You're gonna pull that heel towards the butt. Now, a couple of things I see people doing wrong. Sometimes I see people do this. I want you to keep your knees together. So knees together, keep your hips squared away in the direction that you're facing and your shoulders squared away. Puff that chest out, bring the shoulder blades back, and then pull your heel towards your butt. You wanna get all of those little markers in place first before you start to stretch the quad, because all of those little things, if your hips are out, if your knees aren't together, you're gonna be getting a nice long range of motion, but you're not gonna be stretching the muscle fibers that you wanna be targeting. It's gonna be a little bit of a cheat rep, those things. Okay, left hand side now. So other direction. Right hand side's holding me up, right leg on the floor, keeping the hips squared away, keeping the knees together, and then pulling that heel toward the butt, okay? The other thing as well is keeping the hips pressed forward. See that? That's not gonna stretch your quad. Push the hips forward, puff the chest out, hips forward, hips squared away, knees together, pull that in. One of my old running coaches actually said to me, this is one of their tests before running a marathon. If you can't get your heel to your actual butt, if it doesn't touch, then you're probably not ready for a full marathon at that point. So I don't know how much weight that holds, but I found it interesting because most marathon runners that I've met can do that. All right, we've got the alligator stretch right. This is my favorite one. Hey, Jigglegrave, how you going? So we're gonna lay on the floor, arms outstretched, right knee comes up, left hand grabs the side of the right knee, rolls you forward while you look right. So this one, keeping the left leg nice and straight, keeping the right arm nice and straight. My eyes are out towards the right arm. My left hand is pulling that right knee towards the floor. And where you'd like to be, if you are a master of the alligator stretch, you'd actually like to have your knee on the floor and your right shoulder blade on the floor. Now, I'm not quite there yet, and I wouldn't expect most of us doing the beginner level to be there yet either. So don't stress about where you think you're at with this one. Okay, here we go. We're gonna get ready. Hey, Beeffoot, how you going? Left hand side. So laying back down, arms outstretched. we're gonna grab the left knee into the air and rolling to the left, looking to the left, rolling to the right, sorry. Rolling that left knee to the right, using the right hand to pull the knee towards the floor. Keep the left shoulder blade on the floor and looking eyes to the left. Try and keep your right leg straight out as well. So this stretch, you're gonna feel it in the glute, you're gonna feel it in the lumbar, you're gonna feel it a little bit in the, probably you don't know this, in the piriformis, and a couple of those other muscles around the hips here and the glutes. But there we go. That was one round. So a real important aspect to stretching is not only time under tension, but repetition. So we're gonna go through that one more time. So 2 rounds in total. And we're gonna resume back with the first stretch that we did, the trap stretch. So sitting down again on our nice mats. We don't use this mat often. It's one of the higher quality yoga mats, but this is one where I would only ever use it if I was wearing socks or bare feet. Never with shoes. Never, because we don't want to ruin this mat. Okay, here we go. How you been doing, B-Foot? How's the body treating you? Oh, Beardy, you've got the DOMs kicking in soon. Oh man, we'll talk about that after. Okay, sitting up nice and straight, shoulders back. I'm gonna stretch the right trap, so left hand comes up and just tilts the head to the left. And you don't need much motion, you don't need to move much before you feel that stretch just behind and below the ear, across the side here. Have that right arm dangled down and the shoulder nice and depressed. And just breathe into it. Again, you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to press your stretch so much that there's pain. You'd like tension in it and you want time under tension. So we want to try and hold that full 30 seconds there, like that. Just roll your shoulders in between the stretch there. Keep some mobility in. Here we go. A lot of the headaches that people experience throughout the day, especially in this day and age. Okay, hand up, right hand up. A lot of the headaches that we feel are often what they call tension headaches, where if you're doing something stressful, if you're, Grace knows this, you're playing a scary game, spoopy game, you tend to get real tense and internally rotated and shrugged, and you're holding your shoulders up in a shrugged position. So what happens is that your traps get very tight. The traps pull onto some muscles that wrap around the top of your forehead and the top of your head, and they can lead to tension headaches. So if you can stretch these out, oh yeah, much tension. So if you can stretch them out, they do a little bit to relieving some of those headaches. Obviously, again, keep hydrated too. That will help a lot with headaches. Next one, we've got the cat-cow, 60 seconds of cat-cow. This one's a really, really good one for helping to stretch out the shoulders as well. So what we're gonna do is breathe in, press the belly button towards the floor, arching the back. Oh yeah, what do you call it? Caving the back. And then arch up like a cat. Big old cat stretch here. A cow. Holding it for 5. And then the exhale. There we go. So again, if you feel pain with this, that's a good sign that you probably should speak to a biomechanical specialist, especially if it's around the lower back. For me, I don't tend to feel any pain around the lower back. What I actually feel is sometimes I feel tension around my shoulders. The upper back is where I'll sometimes feel some discomfort. And at that point, I know it's because I've been doing something silly like pull-ups without warming up. There we go. Nice. Nice. Shake it out. We've got the hip flexors to do, so we're going to remain on the mat here. The right hip flexor first. So I'm moving backwards a little bit because I want to be able to get my left foot up in front of me, which I can do now. So we're just kneeling just before we get into the stretch, okay? What we're going to do now, when that beeps, push that foot forward a touch, a little bit more, and then really push the hips down. So you're gonna use your hamstrings to pull yourself forward, keeping the hips squared. Again, if you're like this to the side, different stretch. We don't want that. We want your hips to be facing forward. We want your body upright. You want to squeeze your right glute so that you can actually push those hips down towards the ankle there and just really hold this. Good, good, good. sometimes with those sorts of stretches as well, you'll actually feel when you exhale, you can get a little bit more stretch into it. So to play with that, this is the second round. The first round is us learning and figuring out where we can sit in our range of motion. This time, just have a little bit of a play of how deep you can get into the stretch, okay? So a little bit forward there. And as I exhale, there we go. That feels good. So this type of static stretching, it's a really, really good beginner place and learning place of your ranges of motion. As we get more advanced, you can learn about some things like PNF stretching. I know Beardy and Grace, when you hear PNF, it just brings a single tear to your eye. Okay, bring yourself out of that. It can be not painful, but it's that burn, isn't it? It's that real nice burn. So I'm gonna do an alternative to the seated shoulder stretch right now. I'm gonna do it on my knees. Reason being, I'd like to actually get a bit more of a stretch in. So on the knees here, you're gonna bring the hands behind your back. Like I said, first level is just pressing those palms together. For some people, this is enough, and you're gonna feel a nice stretch on those front shoulders. What you can also do now is just pull the hands down flat, and you can see now the fact that I'm sitting up on my knees, I can actually get a little bit more depth with where my hands get to. My hands are at my butt now, so I can get a bit more of a stretch on this. And hopefully, as you breathe in, you're gonna fill your lungs up with air, and you'll get a little bit more of a stretch on those shoulders. Try not to crook your neck forward. Bring the neck back and just really stretch the front of the shoulders here, the anterior delts. And breathe. Relax. Relax all those parts of your body, because if you've got tension in the muscles, you're kind of doing the opposite of what you want to be doing. You don't want tension pulling them forward, okay? You want to relax and then get that range of motion to open them up and get some good stretch in there. Yes, swallows vomit. Okay, the child's adductor. Grace mentioned this is one of my favorites, this one. Okay, here we go. You're gonna think about child's pose. We're gonna put the right leg out to the side, and then we're gonna bring that child's pose in, okay? So, like I said, the stretch in this one, what you're aiming for is the adductor, is the groin muscles here. And if you're doing this properly, if you've got that leg out nice and straight out to the side, you're gonna feel it from probably your groin to just above the knee here. You can actually feel it. It's a big old steel cable. If you were to grab just above your knee, always when you're coming out of it, come forward, okay? You see, that's gonna help you with that stretch there. Nice. Then sit back into child's pose, just for this 20 seconds between stretches. Up on the knees again. Left leg comes out. Try and keep the blade of the foot nice and flat on the floor, and then dropping down into that child's pose with the one leg out straight. And hold. Again, as you exhale, you should feel your body drop towards the floor a little bit more. Inhale. Exhala. Inhala. Exhala. There you go. And as your butt drops towards the floor a little bit more stretch on that adductor. Bring it forward. Shake it out. Next stretches the calf. Again, looking after the runners out there, looking after everyone that's been doing a lot of calf raises or a lot of impact on the pavement. You gotta find somewhere to press up against. I'm using my rack. You can use a wall, you can use a bookshelf, something nice and sturdy. Right leg goes out straight, left leg bends, and you're gonna press that heel down into the floor. Try and push away here. Try and keep your back nice and straight. Try and keep your hips square with the direction that you're facing, and try and keep your foot square. It's not like this. So the toes are pointed directly forward and that heel pointed directly back, and you should feel it. As soon as that heel approaches the floor level, you're gonna feel it in the gastrocs, the gastrocnemius. Big old calves there, right? So shake that one out. We got the other leg to do, so that's gonna happen now. 10 seconds. So right foot comes forward. It's gonna take a little bit of messing around. Everyone's gonna have a slightly different stance, slightly different range of motion here. Left leg comes back, remember, toes pointed forward, heel straight back. Square those hips. I was almost off like that. Square the hips away, hinge at the hips, nice straight back and push down. And as soon as you feel that really, really satisfying stretch, just on the back of the lower legs there, just sit there and hold it. Because that's where the money comes from. Just having that stretch and sitting there, time under tension. And as the weeks go on, as the weeks pass and you do this on a regular basis, the point at which you need to get to when you feel that tension is gonna change, because you're now inducing a lengthening in the muscles. You're inducing a loosening up of the joints as well. Okay, standing ham, right. Favorite ham, standing ham. So the left leg is gonna bend, right foot goes out forward, straight that leg, heel down, toes up, and then hinging at the hips. So remember that. You know the good mornings that we do? That's what it should feel like. It should feel shoulders back, back nice and straight, hinging at the hips, keeping the hips straight and squared away, and then reaching down. So you should hopefully be very mindful of your knee. Try and keep the knee as straight as possible. I like to have one hand on the knee and the other hand down for that reach, just as a gauge. I can nearly reach the crook of the ankle there. So for me, that's what I wanna, that's where the money comes from. Which job? Good stretch equals monies, yes. Okay, other side now. So I'm gonna take that same stance, bend the right knee, left leg straight, hinging at the hips. My right hand is gonna rest on my knee now to keep it pressed down. Left hand reaching down, and it kind of, again, nearly reaches the crook of that ankle. But I can feel a good stretch in the upper leg. It actually goes down towards my calf as well. Keeping the knees together, keeping the hips squared. And as you exhale, find an extra 1/2 centimeter of stretch there. Awesome. Good. So these are 30-second stretches, and already I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the effects of this. Tomorrow for the intermediate stretch, we're gonna increase that time under tension. We're gonna look at between 45 and a minute for a lot of these holds, okay? And they're gonna be a little bit more intense. So we're gonna do the right quad now. Remember what I said, don't twist yourself. Hips nice and straight, knees together. Push the hips forward and really try and bring the knee up. Oh, not the knee, the heel into the butt, okay? Like I said, think about what I was told. Think about the prerequisite for running a marathon. If you can't get the heel to touch your butt, you're not ready for a marathon. I think you don't have to be ready for a marathon, to be honest. I think that's just a really, really good place to aim for. It's like the being able to do a push-up or being able to do a pull-up, right? If you can't get there, you want to try and aim for your heel to the butt. Other side now, left-hand side. Getting ready for it. Here we go, bang. Big, deep exhale. Time under tension. One of the reasons why I think a lot of people skip the stretching or they neglect stretching is because sometimes it's just, it's 30 seconds of nothing. Especially if you're in a room by yourself, staring at a wall, it's hard. Sometimes for me, especially with my distracted brain, I'll often get distracted and be like, 30 seconds, whatevs. But really, hopefully if you're following along with this video, me chatting, blah, 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 it's just gonna help you get through time. It's gonna help push us through it. Right hand alligator, so arms out to the side, right foot goes in the air, or right knee, bent knee, left hand grabs that, looking to the right, and then trying to bring that right knee to the floor. Again, I want you to focus on the stretch in your glutes here. You should feel it across the side of the hip. You should feel a nice opening of the lumbar spine as well. And then if you're looking to the right and really pressing that right shoulder blade down, you're gonna feel it opening up here, across the pecs, across the front. This is a good value for money stretch, this one. Slowly bring that out and lay down. In between these stretches, just lay down. Just have the arms out, stretch, lay down, look up towards the ceiling, okay? I'm just gonna take my mic out of this pocket so I don't squish it. All right? And when you hear the beat now, we're gonna bring that left knee up, right hand grabs that, twists across, try and press that knee in towards the floor, left shoulder blade on the floor and looking across, so hopefully you feel it in the left pec, the left chest, opening that up as well. Big breath into the belly. As you breathe into the belly, that'll increase the stretch around your hips and your glute. Nice. Breathe it out. Awesome. Now, we've got the 3 beeps. What I want you to do before you go anywhere, just bring your body back into this T pose, laying down nice and flat. I want 3 deep breaths out of you, okay? Whether you're stretching on a rest day before you go to work or before you do whatever you need to do, or if this is the end of the day, big deep breath in, close your eyes if you want. Breathe out, 2 more. Inflate the belly, hold it. Breathe out, okay, 1 more deep breath from you. And exhale. Nice, 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 nice. Really, really, really slowly sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up. And you're done. Well done, team. Thanks so much for joining me on that one. That was the beginner's level stretch, which, to be honest, like I mentioned to you before, Liam, this is something you can do before you go to bed. You've done your first workout of your program today. And remember what I said at the beginning of this, that the static stretches like we did here, where we're not moving, we're taking a stretch, we're holding tension for an extended period. You're really gonna hold it. Those static stretches are not to be done before a workout. You'll wanna do these ones after a workout to wind down, or at the end of a day, as you're winding down before you go to bed. Going to bed is like the great reset. And by doing the dynamic stretches before you go to bed, you do a few things. You actually reset your kind of range of motion. But in the morning, because you have slept, you'll also reset that tension, that length tension relationship in your muscles there. So thank you so much for joining. If you found those ones quite simple, you could do them as like an everyday thing. Or you can join us for the blue level one, which we're gonna do tomorrow, or the purple levels, which are more like your advanced, almost yoga-esque poses. So look forward to that one if you're here now. So thank you so much for your time. I'll see you again on YouTube for the next workout or live on Twitch there, twitch.tv/fit for purpose.